Hello and welcome to today's video titled The Normie Obsession with Iceland Joining the European Union. So here you have it, the obsession that people have with Iceland joining the European Union is largely a normie focused obsession which emphasizes that Iceland will somehow be less independent if it's left without the European Union, where the European Union is treated like big sister and Iceland is treated like little sister. Iceland's real big problems cannot be solved by the European Union alone. Iceland's actual little sister are the Faroe Islands, one of those land masses which had a government which is largely not associated with the Epstein files. On the other hand, certainly, all the normies are now coming and clinging to Iceland joining the European Union, and by clinging I mean obsessing over Iceland joining the European Union. They are glued to this, let's put Iceland into the European Union, let's pressure Iceland to join the European Union. The reality about Icelandic-EU relations is that Iceland decided many years ago that there was no point proceeding further with joining. The hope was, according to those who believe in Iceland-EU integration, that this would result in salaries being raised and in access to better health care and access to a better and more robust grant system. Those who oppose the European Union are now describing it as a sinking ship. To the normies, however, the European Union was founded on their philosophy, normie philosophy, and normies are attracted to strongmen, to people who believe that decision making should start at the top and should then reach the bottom, that it should not start at the bottom and then make it all the way to the top, like it does in the case of direct democracy. So the European Union is being criticized for being too undemocratic. And when it's criticized for being too undemocratic, guess who are the ones who keep saying Iceland must join the European Union now? Iceland must join the European Union ASAP. Iceland must European Union this ASAP. European Union that ASAP. Because that's somehow normal now. Iceland not joining the European Union, Iceland being independent is somehow normal, while the Faroe Islands are largely independent and no one is talking about that that's a problem. So why are people talking about that it's a problem that Iceland is independent? When Iceland was always meant to be independent, and history shows that if you are independent, you are better off than if you are not independent. So you have Brexit. Brexit happened because Brexit involved Britain leaving the European Union. They were not allowed to make their own decisions there. And Iceland watched closely, so when Icelandic officials reached the conclusion that this was not a desirable path to follow, we have normies who went berserk on social media and preached that if Iceland does not join the European Union, X is going to happen to the solar system. there is going to be some kind of a catastrophic meteorite fall that's going to happen to Earth, Mars, Europa, Ganymede, all at the same time. There is going to be some kind of an independently occurring nuclear explosion if Iceland does not join the European Union. That's what they said. If Iceland does not join the European Union, eventually not just the solar system, but the galaxy is going to suffer. And if Iceland does not join the European Union, not just the galaxy is going to suffer, some other galaxy is going to suffer. If Iceland does not join the European Union, this galaxy cluster is going to suffer, and that's going to cause that other galaxy cluster to suffer. If Iceland does not join the European Union, this pair of galaxy clusters is going to suffer, that pair of galaxy clusters is going to suffer, and they are both going to suffer together. Thousands and thousands and thousands of galaxies are all going to suffer if the will of the cosmically important Ursula von der Leyen is not followed. ABC, if you do not do everything that Ursula says, then something happens in the cosmos. Something happens on a cosmic scale. This is ridiculous, utter nonsense. If Iceland continues to stay outside of the European Union, it would benefit both Iceland on one hand and the European Union on the other. And Ursula von der Leyen is not that worried if Iceland decides to not join anytime soon. However, when you believe that you are cosmically important, something happens to the Earth as a whole, to the solar system, or to some other remote solar system, if things do not follow your way. However, if you consider yourself religiously important, something happens to God and Jesus if you do not have your way. And in my opinion, this insane obsession with Iceland joining the European Union is actually a very sad mental state that happens when people have no idea what to do or to say else. Then they just say, okay, let's push Iceland into the European Union, and they keep repeating this over and over and over again so they can have more people who repeat the same. That's it for now. Normie philosophy about Iceland joining the European Union explained successfully.